Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to invite anyone who wants to make a personal appeal. You have 5 minutes. Please sign in.
Holidays good? Good, good.
Happy New Year, John.
Happy New Year, everyone. Again, Happy New Year to everyone here. Just had one thing I wanted to present here. This has to do, again, transparency kind of a thing, with the minutes and everything for the meetings. I was going through and I noticed, like, at the end, like this one, most of the things that list like each of the committees, it really just lists when you're going to meet next, or if you're going to do something this meeting, it's on here. Now, back in February of last year, you listed things that you were working on, like South Street or 10th Street culvert, so on and so forth. And then the next meeting, that's not even mentioned. And then the one after that, again, it just went, here's the next meeting that we're going to have. It's nice to at least know what you're kind of working on, generally, since we don't have any way to go back and look what your committee meetings were discussed about. Another thing I do, which I've always done, you have that camera, you have these mics, hold your committee meetings just like this, record them, put them up on the net, and then everybody sees exactly what's going on the time it's going on. Very good. So I'd suggest that you do that, since we can't get the borough manager's meeting minutes up. Is there any time that might happen?
I don't know if there's any interest on council doing that.
I work for you guys. I'll do whatever you want me to do. I mean, here's the thing is, those notes are public, and as far as procedures at council meetings and minutes, Paula has not changed anything that she's ever done. We type exactly what we've been typing for years. So if it says next meeting is on this date, it's because you guys as a council didn't discuss anything from a committee meeting.
Right, I
On
understand.
the floor. So what I'm saying though is Paula puts the notes in according to what's said at the meeting. It's not, nothing there has changed. As far as
Yeah.
videotaping,
Yeah, this is the agendas,
Yeah,
not so much
so-
the minutes.
That's what I wanted to ask you. So what you're saying is, when we used to have agendas, we had bulleted lists
Yes.
of stuff we were working on. Okay, I get you. I remember that. Okay.
Here's a copy of the things, like I said, from,
Now, are those done anymore?
well, no, your problem is, what we do is we put on here what you guys, your discussion items are. Remember, this isn't, the setup is different because it's electronic.
Yeah, I get it.
So that means that every single time I put that on there, there's no way to change it other than you're gonna go through and it's gonna look like a voting item on your setup every
Yeah,
time.
I know what you're saying.
I'm not gonna do two separate agendas so that he has the convenience of seeing it and yours is gonna be different. It's gonna be one or the other. You want us to list everything? That's fine. But what you had though, when we were doing that was crap that was sitting on there for 3 or 4 years that you wouldn't talk about for 6 months at a time,
This is
but it ran on your agenda for 3 or 4 years. And I can
Correct.
go, I mean, I can give you a list
Yeah, the culvert's one of them.
of things
It's been
that,
on for 3 years.
and you won't talk about that for months at a time. I mean, you have been lately because it's active again, but,
No, I know. I remember those.
I mean, it's up to you how you wanna do it. It doesn't bother me.
When we see like the committee meeting notes on our agenda, can the public see the committee meeting notes too, or that's not made to the public?
No, they're public, but they can ask for them, they can request them, they can do open records on them. But as far as in the computer system, there's a glitch in this Granicus that doesn't let us put the attachment in.
So if the.
That was the whole
glitch
point
ever-
behind the Granicus
If
system,
the
though.
glitch was ever fixed, the committee meeting notes would be,
Everything will be, the whole council agenda
so
will,
whatever we'd see, the public would see.
yeah,
Okay.
with the exception of anything that would be litigation or personnel.
Right.
Can we get in touch with Granicus to let them know that
We're
we
work-
would like to do that?
We're working on it.
So John, if Granicus allows us to do that, that will move forward with the committee memorandums that Shane puts together, where everything that's discussed will be available. But for now, from what I understand, we're not able to do it with this system right now because, well, he calls it a glitch, but it just sounds like they never allowed that to happen.
Okay, because that part's been going on for a very, very long time.
I'm not gonna respond.
I just have a question for the solicitor. The agenda for, like, tonight's meeting,
Yes.
that agenda shall only include the items that we are discussing this evening, is that correct?
That would be it for the agenda, and yes, that's correct.
Thank you.
So for us to put, like we did in the past, all the agenda items on a committee and we're not even discussing them, would not make sense to put it on the agenda.
I don't think so. In fact, I think that's confusing if it's an issue that is not on the agenda to be discussed
If
that
somebody
night.
sees that, they might think we're going to discuss it, and they come and we never touch it.
And they come and it's not reached, and I've seen that happen where even items that are placed on an agenda intending to be discussed, and then something happens that it's removed from the agenda, you have people show up and they're upset because they're thinking that something's going to be discussed and it's not. So it's problematic, you know, it can be.
So John, as soon as we're able to allow us to put the memorandums from the meeting minutes, we will do that.
And then you have no intentions of putting up on the video your committee meetings?
I don't think there's any interest in that. And I think
Maybe I'll be
I
around
think we've
again.
been saying that for a while.
Thank you.
Any other? Hearing none, we'll move on to community minute. Anybody have a community minute? No special presentations. Reading of the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the December 19th, 2016 council minutes? Councilman Barrett, seconded. Councilwoman Gilbert. Questions, discussions, corrections? All those in favor? 7 ayes. There are no decisions on bids. Communications. We received a communication from Terry Sorg McManaman from the Arts Commission with regards to the 2017 Snow Blast Winter Arts Festival, requesting certain items, and she filled out an event information sheet. I believe staff can handle this. Do we need a vote for, well, we have another meeting before the event, but the triangle, the use of the triangle, and I believe some parking spots. There's quite a few requests. Do we want to send it to committee or just have staff handle it? This is an event that we have every year. I do want to point out, I did read a lot of the information in here. Instead of an ice carver this year, they're having a extreme wood carver. I believe he's internationally known. And one of the things that he's carving, they're donating to the New Borough Hall, to display at the New Borough Hall. So I read that, and I think we owe him a great thank you for when we get that. So what direction would you like to go on this as far
Normally
as?
goes to staff, they will be selling alcohol, it looks like it's gonna fall under the Main Street Partners again, so
Is that on the triangle? Do we know?
I think that it is, so I think that
And
you're
fire
gonna need
pit,
to.
what about fire pits?
That's also,
We've had them.
But they have always had that.
yeah.
With
So
the fire
I think it's just the alcohol in the triangle that,
Would somebody like to make a motion to allow alcohol at the Winterfest, as they have in the past? Councilman Barrett, is there a second? Councilman Brown? Questions, discussion? Councilwoman Gilbert?
Providing they provide us with insurance?
yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Anybody else? All those in favor? There are 7 ayes. Do we need a motion for fire pit?
No, was last year the first?
I think they've had it in the
No, they've
past.
had
No,
fire
they've
pit
had-
forever.
So no, we
So
don't
staff will
need-
handle it
yeah,
as usual?
Yeah,
Okay. If there's any other issues, we can bring it up at GA tomorrow.
yeah.
All right. That takes care of that communication. Then when we also received,
Excuse me.
yes,
The only thing I did see, and I know you said about the fire pit, is they're asking for the fire pit to be waived, fire pit permit?
There are commission, it's an automatic waiver,
Okay,
unless we want to pay ourselves.
I just saw it in there, so I just wanted to make sure.
They have
it was
money laundering.
clarified.
thank you. Yeah, that was in there. We received a communication from Naomi Winch, East Penn Democratic Club, and we discussed that earlier. Borough Engineers Report, we have none. Solicitors Report.
Oh,
That was only discussed at Budget and Finance. Full
Yeah.
council needs to vote on that.
Wait, where are we?
Oh, we are going to discuss it then. Okay, sorry. Okay, so we received a letter from Naomi Winch from East Penn Democratic Club asking for the rental of Borough Hall here on Sundays from 1 to 4. And there was a recommendation by a 2-to-1 vote from the Budget and Finance Committee tonight to do it for one night, which is January 15th, for a fee of $50. So is there a motion to allow the East Penn Democratic Club to rent Borough Hall, January 15th, 1 to 4 for $50? Councilman Barrett, is there a second? Councilman Schubsta, questions or discussion? Councilman Anders?
I do, I heard earlier, I believe, as far as the locking up and ensuring that it is, would it be possible to have an officer come by and just to make sure the building is locked, secured after the event? Is that something that could be asked of the chief to see if somebody could do?
well, I mean, we can always ask him. I mean, he's not gonna be able to guarantee it.
Right, I'm just throwing an idea.
You know, I mean,
out
it's
there.
no different than any of our commissions or the Canals Homestead people. Yeah, I mean, or for that matter, staff forgetting to log something too.
I mean, if they don't lock it, then they don't get to rent it ever again.
Just an idea of, ensuring the building was secure, that's all.
Any other questions?
Yeah, we can always ask.
Councilman Dufresne?
I did not hear 100% of what you were talking about in the budget committee, so some of this was probably answered, but our own commissions and stuff, I get, this is $50 a month. Where do we draw the line? Over the years here, this council before me has thought about the fee structure and put things in place. Who do we say yes to? Who do we say no to? It's a key. We're giving somebody to come in here on their own, not that they're gonna do anything. I just don't think it's worth $50.
Yeah, so let's go down that road and talk about that a little bit. Our own organizations, we give the key to because they are borough organizations. You know, Canals Homestead is our building, it's,
Arts Commission.
the Arts Commission is our organization. If you're going to rent to one organization, you have to rent to any organization that wants to rent it. I mean, that's how the law works. So it opens the door to, and if somebody wants to have a birthday party in your public building and you've opened it up to rent, you are going to allow them to rent it for their birthday party.
Can we just specify that it's only for meetings?
I would refer that to the solicitor, but it goes down that whole road of it's a public building.
Yeah, I agree with Shane. Generally, I think you could narrow it to a policy and perhaps put together a policy that meets your needs, and then as long as you apply the policy fairly across the board, that would be I think a reasonable way to limit it. But I would recommend a policy, and then the policy gets applied the same to everybody.
So that would be my thought. I think this happened a little quickly, and I'd rather just wait and address it as a group and how we want to handle it going forward.
Well, yeah, and so let's be clear. That email that you saw, I had absolutely zero discussions with them. Like, the email was as much of a surprise to me as it is to you. I don't disagree that that's a rush job. My only response was the response you see in your email, and that was, so are you asking to rent it every month, or is this a one-time deal? I agree that maybe it needs more discussion, because we really, as a group, have not had any kind of discussion with them. They asked Mr. Barrett, and I discussed and thought, what's a fair fee for a couple hours, and that was as much of the discussion. We've never negotiated anything with them. We've never. That's why it's in communications. The reason I went to Budget and Finance today was because of, the date's 2 weeks out that they want to rent this place.
Councilman?
I guess one of my other concerns would be, what type of insurance they cover. I mean, if things they had mentioned about coffee and stuff, things spilled on the floor, who's cleaning it, who's gonna pay for that? I mean, obviously, if we have a policy in place, it can hold that, whoever would rent it accountable for that. And it's just,
Councilman Brown?
Yeah, this is just almost a remembrance when I was just thinking about the bulletin board. If you guys remember when we went through that. So I think we're going into that same direction where we got to kind of put a policy in place and maybe not go outside of our borough organizations because we had issues with the.
Councilman Barrett?
Well, I mean, I agree and disagree. I think, and it has nothing to do with this group, I think actually that upon hearing the concerns, simply make it's not available on January 15th. Let's do the things the right way. Based on what I'm hearing here, no one's totally comfortable with this. It is rushed. We always find ourselves in trouble when we rush things, so I think that we should take it back to a committee, I don't know which one. And I think it's fine to rent this. I think it would be foolish. I mean, we're looking at a potential of $600. If there are other things that could use this space, I'm not really concerned about who is using it. I mean, there has to be some level of, I don't think a birthday party is the appropriate use for this, but I do think as a space for meetings, and I know that in our new building, that is something that we have talked about, is that we like it. I mean, people do need space if there's a way that we can generate some money. Regardless, let's take this back to a committee and have it flushed out, and we should simply have a rental agreement.
Right.
That spells out all those things, and then it's just like renting a pavilion. It's just like renting a park, a field.
I agree. I think what we'll do, we'll bring this up for a vote. We'll just vote no because it's for a specific date, and we'll just vote no.
Well, I'd rather just take it off and send it back to.
Right.
Well, either way, it's going back.
Yeah. So why vote it down? Why not?
Motion to table
You got to bring it back up then, the next one.
But
until we come up with a
Second.
policy.
Second.
But
There was a
Sounds.
motion to table with Councilwoman Gilbert, seconded by Councilman Anders.
Can we
There's no
discuss?
discussion for a table vote,
No,
correct?
once it's
All those in
tabled.
favor? There are five ayes. Those opposed? 2 opposed.
Who is the second? I saw.
Brown and Barrett are opposed. What we should do is send it to, we'll send it to GA, put a policy together. I think we should rent it out, but specify that this is a meeting room, it's not a banquet hall. So this is a meeting room that can be rented out, and then let's come up with a rental fee and go from there. It will be a lot easier when we're in the new Borough Hall because at that time we'll have a different security system and we can have photos of who's going in and out and we'll be able to maintain more security there. All right? Councilman Brown?
Will GA have this pretty much banged out by the next meeting?
No.
I would say no. So
then,
over the
because-
next we have 2 meetings this month though.
All right, so the Robert's rules of tabling though, is you have to bring it off the table the next meeting if I'm not mistaken.
Well, you're gonna vote no because the time would be gone. Right? They want to rent it on the
But I-
14th.
Right. That's why tabling didn't make sense.
Yeah.
Wait, tabling,
You can bring it back off the table and we can retable it.
But we made it. This was to vote on January 15th.
And our next
And
meeting is the 16th.
I understand that, but we are nowhere near ready to go one way or the other with this.
right, that's why, but that's why I
there's-
get it, yes. But I'm saying
Solicitor?
tabling though in Robert's rules.
Just bring it off the table and then table it again?
I don't believe Robert's rules prevents that, no.
Okay,
Okay.
so,
Here's my point though. They asked for a one-time rental of the 14th.
right.
So keep on tabling something that already expired isn't worth tabling.
Right.
Is my point.
Okay.
But it gives us the opportunity to put a policy
Well, I
together
think
that we
you
would
can
have
you
it.
can keep it on agendas
For
under
February.
something different. But what I'm saying is there's no sense to keep it on.
So the
council.
issue of renting for that specific date is tabled, it's gonna pass, it'll be expired, and then we still can produce a policy.
Well, I would
committee.
ask at the next council meeting, you take it off the table and deny it for that date because
Okay.
it was just for the 14th.
If you could note that to
It's
put it on the agenda.
15th and we're meeting's the 16th.
Yeah.
Can you put that on the agenda then?
It
All right.
almost-
All right, everybody all right with that?
No, just a real quick question. When
Councilman Brown?
In GA, so this will then, if we create a policy, because we don't know if we're going to be here at this location this full year, will we then roll that over into I would assume it rolls over to the next.
We will discuss that.
Okay, thank you.
We'll discuss that because it's a different building with different security, so.
Venue.
Right.
We might have a
And there'll be
community room.
multiple venues there because
Right.
there's different rooms.
Right.
Okay, thank you. For some reason, I'm not coming up.
Oh,
My
shit.
agenda
There you
disappeared.
go. It's because you hit something there.
first time that has happened to me. I don't know if our Wi-Fi's down or what.
No. You hit the delete your last five, your first 5 meetings.
I didn't hit any delete.
Hit the delete button.
Don't make me look foolish. I didn't hit any delete.
I do it all the time.
No.
Oh, nice.
All right, no borough engineers report, solicitors report.
Okay. I have nothing specific, but happy to answer any questions anybody might have.
You know how to operate this iPad?
Not,
We've been
my
having all.
answer is I have no clue.
Can you go back on the history and make sure that I didn't hit the delete button?
We've apparently
I'll do
had all
my
sorts of
best,
problems.
Councilwoman Gilbert.
Can we go back to communications, please? I received an email from Mr. Donchez.
I'm
in
sorry, and
reference
I
to
almost
13th
always ask, but I didn't. So please do enter in communication into the record.
In reference to 13th and Broad Streets for a crosswalk. I will have this on our agenda tomorrow for public safety.
13th
13th and Broad.
is
By Rodale?
past Rodale?
Right at the intersection.
Okay.
12th and Broad?
He has 13th in the email.
Okay.
It's right by his rental.
Supposed to be 12? Okay.
All right. No borough engineers, any other communications? Hearing none, borough engineers report, there is none. Solicitors report, we covered. Unfinished business, part 1. We have ordinance number 1149, an ordinance of the Borough of Emmaus, Lehigh County, Pennsylvania, amending Chapter 15, subsection 602.2.a of the Emmaus Borough Code, removing a residential handicap parking sign on the public street located in front of 177 Elm Street within the Borough of Emmaus. Chairwoman Gilbert, do you have anything to add to this other than the address of the parking
No,
space?
this is just the removal of the handicap sign.
Okay. Is there,
We went there to check it. The sign's already gone.
It probably came down first reading, because this is second
No,
reading, right?
Public Works Department looked for the sign.
and it wasn't there?
It literally is not there.
It's on
so-
eBay.
Okay. So this will make it, official by law, though. All right, so is there a motion to approve ordinance 1149? Councilwoman Gilbert, seconded by Councilman Brown. Roll call vote. Councilman Brown?
Aye.
Councilman Schubsta?
Aye.
Councilman Anders?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gilbert?
Aye.
Councilman Dufresne?
Aye.
Councilman Barrett?
Aye.
Councilman Ladenburg? Aye. There are 7 ayes. Under new business, we have nothing. Unfinished business, part 2. We have ordinance 1152, where we will have our second reading, our second meeting of this month, January 16th, along with the second reading of ordinance 1153. Items not on the agenda. Anybody have anything to bring forward? Mayor's report.
Happy New Year, progress.
Happy New Year. Thank you. Happy New Year to you too. Committee reports. Public Works, Chairman Brown.
Nothing for official action tonight. Our next meeting's January 9th, here at 3 p.m. Progress.
Thank you. Health, Sanitation, and Codes Committee, Chairman Schubsta.
Yes, we have 2 items that we need to reappoint. One, we have 2 requests. Reappoint Roger Steinmeier to the Zoning Hearing Board, new term expiring 1/1/2020. And I'll put that in the form of a motion to reappoint Roger Steinmeier.
So a motion by Councilman Schubsta. Is there a second? Councilwoman Gilbert. Questions or discussion? All those in favor? There are 7 ayes.
And the second one, we have another reappointment to the Zoning Hearing Board. Reappoint Theodore Yopes II to the Zoning Hearing Board, new term expiring 1/1/2020, and I'll put that in the form of a
So
motion.
motion by Councilman Schubsta. Is there a second? Councilwoman Gilbert. Any questions, discussion? All those in favor? There are 7 ayes.
And I'll report progress. Our next meeting is scheduled for January 19th at 4:15 p.m.
Parks and Recreation Commission, Chairman Anders.
Yes, I have one item for official business, and that is to appoint Jennifer Henry to the Recreation and Entertainment Commission, term expiring 6/7/2019.
There's a motion on the floor by Councilman Anders. Oh, the over-under.
Torch has
Who
been
had the
passed.
over-under on that one?
It's a new year.
Is there a second? Councilwoman Gilbert. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor? There are 7 ayes. It's going to happen again, so don't worry. You'll have more laughs.
We also met today here in Borough Chambers. One of the items we did discuss is the pool and the hiring. Our manager has requested to start hiring soon. I believe, Shane, it was within the next week?
We want to advertise within the next week.
Advertise within the next week, and to get a jump start on the hiring of lifeguards. As a reminder, this year we will be paying an additional $1 more per hour for the lifeguards in hopes of retaining some quality individuals. Beyond
Well, and
that,
it also, I mean, it also makes it almost as competitive as it should be with the
Yes.
surrounding pools. We're still not nearly as high as the surrounding swimming pools, but I think that's important
yes.
that we discuss that, because just giving them $1 an hour raise to retain quality lifeguards isn't, we need lifeguards.
We do-
We were
we do.
5 short of what we needed last year.
Yes, but we need quality ones as well. The other item that we are looking at in the committee is a calendar for scheduling of the ball fields and the pavilion rentals. So we're looking at several options for that. And then the rest will be in the notes, and with that, I'll report progress.
Thank you. Public Safety Committee Chairwoman Gilbert.
Thank you. We already took care of ordinance 1149, and our next meeting is tomorrow at 3 p.m. in Chambers. Progress.
Thank you. General Administration Chairman Barrett, you have a lot of reading to do.
I do have a lot of reading to do. Let's see if I can do it all. All right, we're going to start with Resolution 2017-1. I'll just read all of the names. This is the positions and with a term expiring January 3rd, 2018. Ambulance Corps Chief Jeffrey Hoffman, Animal Control Officer Alan Lewis, Borough Manager and Secretary Shane Pepe, Borough Solicitor Dimmick Dinkelhocker and Annewald, Director of Finance Treasurer Christine Snyder, Certified Public Accountant France Anderson and Basil, Civil Service Commission Solicitor Davison McCarthy, Code Enforcement Officer, Public Works Inspector James Farnsworth, Earned Income and Local Service Tax Office H.A. Berkheimer, Emergency Management Coordinator James Crippy, Engineer Hanover Engineering, Fire Chief, Director of Emergency Services John Price, Fire Inspector Daniel Sell, Health Officer Gary Ritter, Pension Consultant, Police Non-Uniform, Mock and Hop Benefits Group, Per Capita Tax Office H.A. Berkheimer, Police Chief Charles Palmer, Public Works Director John Dashala, Sewage Enforcement Officer Jacob Schrey, Gregory Gray and Christopher Taylor, Special Labor Counsel Campbell, Durant, Beatty, Palumbo, and Miller, Weed and Snow Enforcement Officer Paula Weant, Zoning Hearing Board Solicitor Ronald Corkery. And I'll
Place that in
put
form of
in
motion.
Yes.
There's a motion to approve Resolution 2017-1 by Councilman Barrett. Is there a second? Councilman Anders. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor? There are 7 ayes.
All right, next are 2 interns to hire. Both would be making minimum wage. The first one, Zach, would be working approximately 16 to 20 hours, and the other would be keeping it under 29 and a half hours. So I'd like to place a motion, is it to hire, or?
Yeah, we're
Yeah, to hire, yeah. To hire Zach Lawler and Glenn Rodell.
There's a motion on the floor by Councilman Barrett. Is there a second? Councilwoman Gilbert. Questions or discussion? The Kutztown University students, one will be doing an intern during this upcoming semester, and Glenn will be doing this internship over the summer. So that's why she's able to do more hours.
Yes.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, I mean, the last 2 times that we've hired interns, it's been a great addition. They've been able to learn how to use the programs in a real-world setting, and we've benefited from,
They advanced to very good jobs, too.
yeah.
And
Right.
they also saved us from engineering fees of, what,
Well, this is-
50,000?
This is a crucial project that they're working on. This is the MS4, to finish the MS4 maps, which is costing communities about $100,000 each for engineers to do it. Our public works have already gone out and identified the interns need to put the longitude and latitude and the mapping to the project. And we will meet that MS4 requirement that is daunting, that is due on September 15th or whatever the date is that we have to have everything done by.
All those in favor? There are 7 ayes.
Next are the appointments for the 2017 Employee Safety Committee Administration. Shane Pepe, term expiring 1/1/19. Code Enforcement Officer, Jim Farnsworth, term expiring 1/1/19. Police, Todd Garloff, new appointment term expiring 1/1/19, and the alternate, Adam Polster. Ambulance, Tom Gauntner, term expiring 1/1/18, and alternate, Jeff Hoffman. Public Works, Marvin Jennings, term expiring 1/1/18, alternate, John Dashala. Clerical, Cindy Pandel, new appointment, term expiring 1/1/18. Fire, Paul Schenkweiler, new appointment, term expiring 1/1/19, alternate, John Price. And actually, I'll do it separately, so I'll make that into the first motion.
There's a motion to
Appoint.
approve the Employee Safety Committee by Councilman Barr. Is there a second? Councilwoman Gilbert, any questions or discussion? All those in favor? There are 7 ayes.
And the second is the 2017 meeting schedule.
I don't think you have to read them all, does it?
Yeah, I don't think.
There's a motion to approve the meeting schedule. Councilman Barr, is there a second? Councilman Anders, questions or discussion? All those in favor? 7 ayes. Don't worry, I'll give you another one.
Yeah, turn it to him.
Next item?
Next is a reappointment of Beverly Springer to the Shade Tree Commission with a term expiring 1/1/2022.
Motion on the floor by Councilman Barr. Is there a second? Councilwoman Gilbert, questions or discussion? All those in favor? 7 ayes.
Next is a reappointment for Doug Hall to the Shade Tree Commission, term expiring 1/1/2022.
Motion on the floor by Councilman Barr. Is there a second? Councilman Dufresne, questions, discussion? All those in favor? 7 ayes.
Next is a reappointment of Linda Rose to the Emmaus Library Board with a term expiring 1/1/2020.
Motion on the floor by Councilman Barr. Is there a second? Councilman Dufresne, questions or discussion? All those in favor? There are 7 ayes.
A reappointment of John Stover Jr. to the Emmaus General Authority with a term expiring 1/1/2022.
Motion on the floor. Is there a second? Councilwoman Gilbert, questions or discussion? All those in favor? There are 7 ayes.
Next is also a reappointment for John Stover Jr. to the Emmaus Vacancy Board with a term expiring 1/1/2018.
Motion by Councilman Barr. Is there a second? Councilman Dufresne. What's wrong with this side of the room, guys?
I was waiting.
Questions,
You guys are on
discussion?
fire.
All those in favor? 7 ayes.
Next meeting is tomorrow at 9 a.m. Progress.
Thank you, well done. Budget and Finance Committee, Chairman Ladenburg, we have the bill list to pass. Will somebody make a motion to pass Resolution 2017-2? Councilman Schubsta, seconded by Councilwoman Gilbert. Questions or discussion on the bill list? All those in favor? There are 7 ayes. Our next meeting is January 16th here in Borough Hall at 6:45. Progress. Community Relations Planning and Development, Chairman Dufresne.
We had no meeting since the last Borough Council meeting, so report progress. Our next meeting is January 12th at 4 o'clock in Council Chambers.
Thank you. Personal Appeals Part 2. Anybody have a personal appeal?
Hi, Linda Onchus. One, I'd just like to comment, thank you for tabling, deferring, whatever, that discussion on the meeting. I think there was a lot to think about, and a lot of the issues were raised, but I'm glad that you put that off. And secondly, I'm just curious, what's the Emmaus Vacancy Board?
So the vacancy board by law, every municipality has to have a vacancy board. So if an elected official was to vacate their position and Borough Council could not name a person within 30 days, then it goes to the vacancy board to try to get candidates to fill that position.
Okay, thanks.
It never has been used so far. Any other personal appeals? Hearing none. Borough Manager's report.
Significant revenue and expense items are in your iPads. If you have any questions on that. Otherwise, we are doing our end-of-year wrap-up, trying to close out the budget. We've got a lot of reconciliation work to do. We've got a lot of closeout stuff. We have to get ready for some audits right out of the gate, and then open up the new year, the new budget. So with these abbreviated weeks, it's also payroll week and bill list and council. So our accounting department is chasing their tail in spite of their face right now. But they're hard at work at it. So there's a couple reports that may get out a little later than normal, but that's really has a lot to do with kind of the way that the holidays came around. So, but they're working hard to get everything finished up. Other than that, I will report progress unless you have questions for me.
Any questions? Hearing none. President's business, I have nothing. Motion to adjourn. Councilman, now you guys
No,
raise your
sure,
hand.
now they're
No,
active.
go ahead, over here. We're going over here. Motion to adjourn. Councilman Barrett, seconded by Councilwoman Gilbert. All those in favor? There are 7 ayes. Meeting adjourned at 7:37 Borough clock time.
You guys go to